I don't even know what I'm supposed to say, but thanks for coming out. I'm actually here just to see the panel myself. I'm not Filipino. I'm half, but I grew up my whole life and everybody thought I was because I'm half Japanese and half white. I'm an honorary member of the Filipino community. I'm snacking on my adobo over there. But yeah, shoot, all these guys contributed greatly to the Freestyle Session legacy. They're all power players, made a name for themselves and travel around the world representing, you know, under the brand of just Freestyle Session, because that's what a lot of people know them from. I mean, not to say that they didn't do anything else, but you know, Freestyle Session went far and wide, much bigger than I ever got. So yeah, so I'm just here. I'm just the curator of Freestyle Session, and it's pretty much all of ours. So I'm just here to soak in the stories. So thanks for coming out, and let's have a great night.
It's on?
Check 1 2.
Check.
Chicken adobo 1 2 3 4.
Yo, I don't know if this was.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Ayos.
Ladies.
Is this microphone on? Okay, it's on.
Pasok.
Hostess.
Just. Little hot. Yo, it's a trip seeing all these guys together. I grew up watching VHSs of all you guys, and I want to take this time to really thank you guys for sharing your time with us, and your stories. To be honest with you guys, when I hit all these guys up to talk about this panel, I really couldn't get them to shut up about like all the stories that they had, and so I'm really excited to capture everything that they had to say. And again, thank you, Cros, for letting us do this. The first thing I wanted to ask you guys is about what your first experience with Freestyle Session is. We're kind of get like some backstory. We're gonna go in order and really get into the past. I'm gonna try not to like geek out a lot, right? And ask about like, yo, how did you come up with this move? But it might happen, so sorry. But yeah, I mean, one of the crazy stories I heard was when I was speaking with Rainen. He told me that he was in the car when Cros was just thinking about making this event. Rainen, can you tell me about like where were you at, like in life and your relationship with Cros at the time, and how did it all kind of start from that level?
Well, yeah, so it started off because I got down with Delivery Boys, which is the crew that Cros was a part of. It was him, Donnie, our friend Tony Carroll, Maya, Craig, yeah, right, Rod. There was a bunch of us that were affiliated with that crew. Even though the crew started in San Diego, we were living in Murrieta, California, or Riverside, yeah, IE at that time. And Cros and Donnie were older than us. Me and Maya were probably about 12, 13 years old. But they saw a lot of talent in what we were doing as far as with breaking, from flares, windmills, headspins. Like, we had a lot of power moves at that time. And at that point, we were driving up where we would get in Cros's car, and we would drive all the way to Ontario, where they would have this studio called Street Smart. And Robbie and Julian, these two guys, they were the ones that were mainly there. Robbie from Dynamic Wizards was the guy that was teaching us a lot when it came to or Bboy Static was teaching us a lot with learning our power, getting us better. And we would pretty much go there like for a while, like almost every other day. Like Cros and Donnie would pick us up. I'd be in the trunk because that's where I could fit.
True story.
True story. I'd be in the trunk driving to Ontario because we had to fit in Cros's car. And pretty much, man, like back and forth, we just practice there, come back, they drop us off. And I remember being in the car, like lightweight, about to sleep a little bit, and I would just hear Cros and Tony and Donnie just talk about, just about the events at the time, Radiotron, B-Boy Summit, and Cros wanted to do something different. Him and Tony were talking about it, Donnie was talking about it, and I just remember thinking, like, that sounds like a cool idea. Years coming to a few years later, when I was in high school, probably I think my sophomore or junior year, Cros hit up myself, he hit up Maya and said, hey, you got to check out the event that I'm throwing, Freestyle Session. You guys got to come through. And we actually went to the first Freestyle Session, didn't battle or anything, just went there as a spectator because I had stopped breaking for a while, got more into school for wrestling and choir and girls. And anyway, but at the time,
shouldn't you keep breaking because of that? Or?
Yeah. But I mean, I was breaking at pep rallies and lunches. But like really getting back into the scene, it was when Cros had hit us up and going in the freestyle session, the first one, opened my eyes and be like, hey, I want to start doing this again. And then the following year, going to Freestyle Session 2 was like, all right, this is it. This is all I want to get back into, So yeah, that was my story.
So you didn't start breaking after the first one?
I did, but the caliber was so high that I'm like, I'm not gonna put my foot and step anywhere in the circle because I haven't been training like that. Like when I went to the first Freestyle Session, and I saw from foot soldiers to, like everybody that was there. Soul Control and everybody, I was like, dang, this is crazy. I was like, what is going on here? It was too much for me. I was like, dang, it advanced already this much when before it was like, if you had dope headspins, then you're the best B-boy at the time.
Right.
And it's always evolving. So that was a good thing about it.
Yeah. Speaking of foot soldiers and the first one, one of those crazy B-boys that you saw that, that was making noise at that first one was Reveal, right? You were at the first one, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
That was my first original crew before we became Rhythm Bugs.
It was Foot Soldiers before Rhythm Bugs?
Yeah.
Dope. So, like, at that point, how long had you been breaking, and did you have a lot of experience battling at that time? Because there wasn't as many.
Kind of. Like, we used to just battle, like, together, like, in the crew. I mean, in the garage with each other. There wasn't a lot of jams before Freestyle Session. I think there was, like, 2 or 3 we went to. Cros was there. We actually battled Cros. I mean, like his crew, Delivery Boys, maybe. Oh hell no! Yeah. So we used to like go at it and battle. That's how we got to know him through battles, and then he through his jam, the first Freestyle Session in '97.
Yep.
So we participate. We lost. No, I think we made it far. We were in the finals.
You guys went far.
I don't remember winning though.
The tie.
You guys didn't finish.
Yeah.
The first one, I think it was like a 3-way.
It was more like an exhibition, I think. So I didn't really care. I was just having fun that time.
Word. Yeah. I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with Reveal, like this guy's like the LeBron James of breaking. Like he came in like as like a he came in like as like a rookie. We basically were able to watch him grow from Foot Soldiers from the first Freestyle Session, and then his crew won Freestyle Session just last year. The Freestyle Session was at 24. Freestyle Session 24. You know what I mean? I mean, he didn't battle, but I mean, your crew won.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy just seeing you evolve, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. I want to get more about like the news spreading and traveling, and you guys were driving up from far away. Bee is from this area, right? Bee's from 626 West Covina? Pasadena. And so like how are you connecting with these B-boys in San Diego that pre-internet?
Well, I mean, I met them all at a B-Boy Summit, and I knew Cros because his headspins, and he had really nice headspins with a mullet.
Yep. It helped with the...
Yeah. But I was going to school in Long Beach. There was a school called Brooks College. It was for graphic design. And all of a sudden, I started to see Cros show up out of nowhere. And he was basically making the flyers for Freestyle Session using the computers there. Because
did you go to that school, Cros? Like what?
Cros didn't go, but like one of the homies went.
That's awesome.
one of the homies was there, Sunk One.
Sunk.
Yeah, he was going there, so Cros would crash in his dorm, and then like just do the flyers over there. So it's I was kind of laughing at that.
And you guys knew each other at the time? Did you guys?
Yeah, we had already known each other.
Okay, word.
I see him at random events like import show off in Pomona or
Yeah.
you know.
That's
just
why.
random like b-boy jams, like
Yep.
small stuff.
Yep. And then this event kind of he took the show on the road. He started this jam in '96, and then 2 years later went up to Seattle. And B, you were a part of this caravan, right? It was something a little crazy, right? Tell me about that.
I don't know how much I can say. It was a crazy van, you know. Like I tell everybody, you know, it's the best road trip I never want to take again. This is a van full of b-boys and craziness goes on, you know. And then we finally get there just to battle Seattle.
So first of all, how many people were in were in these vans? How many vans y'all take
It was
up?
one van and a car.
Mm.
Yeah, Rainen was in the car, and it's me, Cros, Fresh, Cartoon,
Charles.
Drunk Funk,
Vietnam.
Stunts, Vietnam,
Damn.
Elena, Vigo Breeze.
So how did y'all decide like who was going up there, right? Because Freestyle Session Seattle, was there a battle there? Was there like an organized like competition?
Not that I'm aware of. It was just like
It's a cipher.
it was just a
Cyphers.
cipher.
Just a
then
jam.
turned
Cypher,
into-
huge cipher,
Huge
multiple
cipher.
ciphers.
Yeah, it turned into Washington versus California.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, so how did that come about? Like, if you guys were just going up there just to hold this event and just to kind of cipher, like, what?
To my knowledge,
I can speak for that. So there's one b-boy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he did us a favor. Anyways, he was talking a lot online. He's talking a lot of stuff online. This is a
bboy.com.
Yeah, this is bboy.com, right? And so he would talk, and so Cros won and DV won, a lot of ones. They actually said, hey, all right, that's cool. Let's do a battle. All right, let's come through. My Washington b-boys will value you guys, California cats. All right, let's go, right? And so the guy who kept on talking. Did he show up? No. Did we show up? Yeah. So we showed up for Washington, and I could say it was, I mean, hearing from B that was just one van, incredible, because there was multiple people, like they covered the whole cipher. And now just think about it was just a car and a van, like wow, you guys were really sardines. Like,
Charles was there too. Yeah, Charles.
But yeah,
Charles,
I just remember being a kid watching all these California cats, and they're just next level, killing it, incredible. And Washington, we're there, but we're still in the foundation mentality of owning the skill and being creative. But California was already next level, and so we're trying to chase that. And when we saw them, we were blown away, and many people were scared, to be honest, to battle. But cats just had to throw down, and that guy who kept on talking wasn't there. But that was a life-changing moment for us b-boys in Washington, because from that event, we went from here to here. Like, all right, that's the level, game, let's go. And it was so inspiring. Like, it inspired, and no doubt about it. Like, California put it down. They put it down. Let's be real. But the fact that they came, drove the van for hours, Cros coming through, DV1 coming through, and just decipher and exchange in that moment, mind blowing for everyone. So it was incredible.
So did y'all catch the Cali cruise? Did y'all catch word of this dude talking mess? And like, were you like about to roll up to this jam? Like, all right, like we got to shut him up, or like, did y'all know about that?
I had I heard stuff. I don't know, like
Stuff.
yeah, I heard stuff. Like I just heard there was a lot of like trash talking back and forth, and we just had to represent Cali. That's it.
Yeah.
I know on our end, with me it was Sunk Rock, who was talking a lot to Juse Boogie, and we didn't know who Juse was. All I know is they were going back and forth. Him and we're going back and forth. And I remember on even the ride there, he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna call out this dude Juse." Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. We go to this rave the first night before Freestyle Session, and at the rave, we're standing we're in line, and Juse is in front of us. And he hears us talking. "Y'all from the West Coast? Or y'all from Cali?" We're like, "Yeah, we're from Cali." He goes, "Yo, I'm Juse." And right away, Sunk goes, "Oh, I'm Sunk." He goes, "Oh, you're the guy I'm talking to? Okay." So at the rave, we already started battling right as soon as we walked to the rave. We're battling Juse and all them in the very beginning. Then later on, you guys all showed up, and then the cyphers get bigger. And at that point, it was already like, all right, this is gonna. You already saw the energy that it was gonna be Washington versus Cali. You know?
So there was a pre-battle before.
Yeah.
There was, but then when we all got in the freestyle session, that you could tell it was a huge circle, but you could see who was on each side, you know? And then when the battle started, which B doesn't remember, he actually started the battle because he started uprocking everybody and taking out a sword and started stabbing everybody.
That's true.
Right?
Typical B.
Yeah, and then right as soon as that happened, it got crazy, man. And I miss going to an event where it wasn't based on that event there was no competition. It was just this throwdown. That's really what it was about, and it was fun, man.
So Jeromeskee, what was it like seeing, you know, this car come out and then you see like these dudes from Cali and they're Filipino, like, what was it weird for? And then even for you guys coming up from Southern California, was it weird seeing that there were Filipinos breaking up north? You know what I mean? Like, because like we didn't have the internet at the time, right? So we didn't really know. The only way we knew we were from different places was actually by our style, like the way that this guy, the way this guy breaks, like, oh, he's from Texas. You know what I mean? Like that's like kind of like the way that we kind of saw it. So like, was it weird for you, Jeromeskee, like seeing like Filipino b-boys?
It was actually two things. It was inspiring and intimidating, right? Because it was inspiring because they're Filipinos. All right, cool. But damn, I have to battle that, you know, like wow, and that's the level, incredible. Like, how can I match that?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy for me because when I started breaking, I didn't know a lot of Filipino b-boys. So like when I first saw you guys on tape, I was like, it was like a Rufio moment. Like, you know, like I was like, what is that guy Filipino? If he's Filipino, I'm Filipino. Then I could do those moves.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so like like representation matters, right? Like it made me feel like you guys made this possible for me to do. You know what I mean?
Bangarang, man. Bangarang.
You know, so going up from Seattle into the Pacific into the Pacific Northwest, we got Wendy that's from there. How, you know, we already started talking about bboy.com and all that stuff. Like how did you kind of get like wrapped up into like everything?
Hello. So I started breaking in '97. I had skipped school one day in the 8th grade, and we ended up at this guy's house, and they started breaking, and I was like blown away because I started off like my cousins were DJs and b-boys, and so I grew up around the culture. So I started rapping when I was like 12. And then I saw breaking, and I was like, oh my God. I was blown away. I was like, I have to do that. I was living in Portland, and the guys that I met, they're part of like a different like era of breaking, like with the socks and the blonde eye bangs and things like that. But luckily, I got really lucky. A few months later, I met Joe, who's, you know, Massive Monkees. And I also met Jose from Defcon 5, and Defcon 5 and Joe's other previous crew was Irresponsible Souls, and they were heavily influenced by Easy Rock, and so I got really lucky. I was forced to practice foundation over and over. 6-step has to be clean both ways, chair both ways, baby both ways, on beat, facing forward. Like, it was very like, so I'm really grateful that I met people who align with how I approach the dance now, just very just paying homage to the art, and I started going on bboy.com chat because I would go online to learn more and try to like connect with people. And at that time, there was just the bboy.com chats, and that's where like every b-boy and b-girl would just be on there. And I met a bunch of people from around the country, and then friends were traveling out of state. I know B-Boy Summit 99 was like a big one, and I'm Filipino, I'm a daughter of immigrants. My parents would never let me go out of state for a jam. I had to lie and say I had a field trip for school, for college, in college, to go down to Mighty Four. And so, anyway, in 2001, we just happened to be in LA on a trip, and Freestyle Session was happening, and I was like, oh my God. And I remember my parents agreeing to let me go, and we went to go eat like Brazilian barbecue beforehand, and I couldn't eat. I was so nervous because I've seen the videos and the footage that people have brought up to Portland, and I was like, oh my God, like this is next level, next level. And before that, I had been traveling up to Seattle a lot to practice with Massive Monkees at Jefferson Community Center and stuff like that. But I just had never been to a huge jam. So that was my first introduction to a jam. And of course, I was like, I can't be all the way down here and not enter. So I entered Freestyle Session 6, and we lost, I think, in the first round. But definitely just throwing myself out there really was like a huge learning curve for me in terms of battling and just being in a jam with like 100 cyphers going on at the same time. It was amazing because you'd be standing in one cypher, and then you're getting down, and then you just walk 2 feet, you're in another cypher, and there's like cyphers going down in front of the vending tables, there's cyphers in the hallways, there's cyphers in front of the bathroom. It was crazy. It was a huge culture shock for me. So that was my introduction. That was my first freestyle session. I think that was 2001.
So you were out here with family. Who did you enter with?
I can't remember.
So you just wanted to get down.
It was very random and last minute. Like, do you want to enter? You want to enter? All right, let's do it. And we just entered.
Yep. That's dope.
And it's crazy because I was looking at the footage, and there was another B girl like in the other crew, and it happened to be DJ Cricket, and we were laughing about it because we went on a retreat last year, and we were like, "Yo, we didn't even know we battled each other in 2001."
That's wild, yo. Yeah. So moving on to our next panelist, we haven't met yet. This is Nico. To be honest, the reason why I got him on is because I was looking at our panel. I was like, yo, we're all old. Maybe just me. I just feel, that's how I feel. Anyways,
we're old. Older.
But when I spoke with Nico, he was like, yeah, like. He acknowledged, he was like, yeah, like I'm like the internet generation b-boy. Nico, tell me about how you heard about Freestyle Session, especially with like all the footage and like all the coverage that's happening on the internet, like, and what made Freestyle Session stand out to you?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. What's going on, everybody? My name is Nico. I represent California Crew, a local San Diego crew called Uncomfortably Fresh. Underground Flow, and my first freestyle session. And as Justin mentioned, I am the internet generation breaker. I started during the You Got Served period towards the America's Best Dance Crew period, so I'm geeking out too, just being up here. So I'm grateful to just have the mic and have your ear for a little bit. But my first freestyle session wasn't until 2012, and so many of these pivotal breakers in the scene, they already laid out a whole foundation of a career by the time I started. I started in 2008, but I had a lot of exposure by cousins at these Filipino parties, watching Jackie Chan movies, Drunken Master #2, the first Drunken Master. And there was just something really enticing about the acrobatics and the athleticism and just the toughness that came with it and the resilience, and I found a lot of parallels in breaking that came with that. So I thought that was mad dope. But when it came to my first freestyle session in 2012, I was already breaking for about 4 years. So I had my fair share of local events growing up in San Diego, but I guess with the lineage of freestyle sessions starting in Chula Vista, so my home city, San Diego County, it was so established already that there were already multiple generations of crews, from Easy Rock generation, Cros 1, all the way to Reveal, and then Lancer back there. There was so much that happened historically in San Diego that by the time I went to my first freestyle session, I didn't know that I was already at Mira Mesa Epicenter practices with some of the people that made historic footage at freestyle session, or that made like noise around the world, and they were just practicing in our local Mira Mesa Community Center. So by the time I got into that first freestyle session at the Nokia Center, I believe, the level of movement was so high level. So it's crazy to hear that amongst all the other panelists here, that every time that they went to a freestyle session, they were saying that it was high level. So fast forward 12 plus years later in 2012, there's Skill Brats Renegades. There's all these other crews, and you're watching Ronnie Ruin versus Flying Buddha in the Cypher. And California already won how many freestyle sessions at that time? It was a lot of information. So I'm super excited to share anything related to how much history that I've been able to see over the digital space of breaking, and how I'm somewhat in that hybrid middle of the early 2000s b-boys that value so much of originality and that fire and that aggression that comes in breaking. But then I'm also on the other side of, well, I'm exposed to so many different styles all at once. And that's not just Instagram, that's just not YouTube, but how fast you can get footage by the glimpse of a story, all the way to TikToks. And people are making such big careers out of the financial and the social aspects of breaking. And now being in this place where the Olympics is a topic, all the way to the cultural spots, that if people are worried that breaking might be compromised by being in the Olympics, then why don't we be the generation that brings culture, or that continues to harness the culture into the Olympics? Sure. But yeah, my first freestyle session was dope. Just capping off of that topic, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about freestyle session is it brought a level of breaking, and it made everyone push, because there just seemed to be, it was more consistent. There was multiple ones per year and things like that. So I want to talk about how like the jam changed how you break. Rainen, so you talked about how you went to like the first couple and you were like, nah, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
What like how did it make you, how did it push you? And then when did you decide like, all right, like I'm ready?
I would say Freestyle 3. Even though I didn't enter that, I mean, one of my main reasons that I actually went to the event is because Cros told me that Storm was going to be there. And he's here right now.
And he's here right now.
Super dope.
This is so crazy.
And like literally he was like, yo, Storm's going to be at Freestyle Session. All right, I'm coming. And at that point, you know, I was really training because, you know, I already knew the caliber of b-boys that were going to be there. It was also during the year that I was graduating. So in my head, I'm like, all right, like,
no more wrestling.
Yeah. I quit wrestling. I was still doing choir. I love karaoke. But at the end of the day, I really wanted to, you know, pursue b-boying and breaking at that time. And it almost felt like, no, actually, not it almost felt like, it was like Freestyle Session was the event that you were training for. From Freestyle 3 to when Freestyle 5, when it hit LA, and I remember entering with Rhythm Bugs Rock Force and how much we trained for that. It was like, you need to get ready for Freestyle Session. Even when I was in California, the way that we game planned for that, you kind of already knew who was going to be there, and you trained extremely hard just that year. Even though there was other events, that was an event that you had to go and represent and kill it at, because that's going to make your name, for one. And for two, you already knew the caliber of b-boys and b-girls that were going to be there. That's where you knew you could actually, if you lost in a cypher or someone smoked you in a cypher, you could catch them at Freestyle Session, and you knew they were going to be there. It really was that, and it always has been that type of event, even from how it is now. I'm going to the event tomorrow. I've trained super hard for it, only because I know I'm going to hit these ciphers up. I know that I'm going to enter these competitions, regardless if the crew that I'm entering with makes it or not. Like, you just go there to represent regardless. And I feel like through generations and through the years, that's what every B-boy and every B-girl goes for when they go to Freestyle Session. That they level up on purpose for that. Even though we do have the breaking going into Olympics, really Freestyle Session to me is like the main Olympic type of event that you get ready for throughout the year.
It's basically like the first Olympics.
Yeah, for me.
For breaking, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's interesting about Freestyle Session is it's kind of like an all style, like an all elements like jam. That's something that Cros really prides himself in is bringing in dope DJs, dope MCs. Some of them had even like DJ battles. Not only do you break, but you also lock. Tell me what it was like finally having like a jam where locking was, where you can go and lock it. You know what I mean?
It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
The locking scene is kind of weird. It's been up and down. It gets really big and then gets a little watered down or whatever's, and then it disappears, and it kind of reflects on Freestyle Session, because there was a locking battle, and then there's no more locking battles because there wasn't a lot of people representing anymore. So it's because there's a lot of politics, like just anything really. There's politics, and that hurts the scene no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of people got hurt by that.
Sure. So as the jams went on and the level rose, I remember watching Rufio from like the first freestyle sessions. Every freestyle session just seemed like he like leveled up like Goku. Like there was like another level that he got to. How did you? I guess what I really want to ask, like, how'd you come up with these crazy ass moves almost every? I mean, how many months were in between each freestyle session? You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like there was just like another level that you went. I've never seen an invert until Freestyle Session 3. Battle utensils. You were wearing the Bruce Lee shirt and everything, and I was like, yo, what the? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, how did you prepare for these battles? And can you speak on that?
Yeah, like that time I didn't really prepare for anything, honestly. I was just breaking every day.
It was just easy, it's fine.
Yeah, I love breaking so much. Like even to this day, like I don't think at all. Once the music is on, that's all I do. I just move, and then once you tap into it, that's it. That's who you should be, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt like it was natural for me just to like break every day and just come up with new moves. And I had a crew that guided me, you know. So like I was thankful and lucky that I was around these guys, foot soldiers, because without them I wouldn't be here too.
Yep.
Because like they knew the real deal, and I learned that from them. I learned it a lot from Frank, Troy, Cosby, rest in peace. A lot of these guys, like they taught me like the real way of breaking. Because at the same time we were going to Bboy Summit in like 94, 95, 96, up to Freestyle Session 97. And so I was just breaking hard like all the time, you know.
Yeah.
That was like my thing, you know. So once I saw it, I fell in love with it since I was, I don't know, 13, 12, back in 92, 93, and I just kept doing it. And so jams like Bboy Summit and Freestyle Session came around. You just see these guys from like out of town, and you just want to push harder. And I think that's what makes Freestyle Session special, because Cros was actually flying cats from like overseas. And he was flying like these dudes like right there in front of us, like, damn, there's Storm here in San Diego, there's Tough Kid here, and this guy, and Benji. Like, you know, like there was but even within the states too, like we never seen guys from LA, we never seen guys from Texas, so that's what made Freestyle Session special too. Like even though they traveled at Summit too, but I think Freestyle Session was just really raw because there were just so many cats that I've never seen before, and I've probably seen them on tape for sure. Like for example, like I saw Storm, and we saw Storm. We have his tape, and I think he came out 95, 96, his solo tape. And then when he came for Freestyle Session, it was just next level. Like you just want to push harder and train more.
So Cros put like the San Diego scene on steroids. Basically, he put you guys on like a fast track, like just bringing all this talent.
We were actually very lucky to see all those guys, like all the B-boys, the B-girls, the pioneers, because I don't think anyone was doing that at the time. Like he was really he was really flying these guys out,
pushing the talent
like in our neighborhoods. Like whoa, this is dope.
Yo, that's wild. That's wild.
From the tapes to right there in front of us. So that I think that's why I loved it so much, because I got to see them at a young age, and I was breaking out every day.
Yep. Speaking of breaking every day, I remember when I was speaking with Jeromeskee, he had told me that there was just like one summer he just went like ham, and like he didn't go out, he didn't do anything like that. He was just as focused. I feel like we all kind of have like that one summer, that one spurt of time where we're just like, I need to get these windmills, and this is my life now. There have been some really memorable battles, and I remember, I think it was Freestyle Session, where Massive Monkees and Battle Monkeys battled, and I feel like that was like one of the, even to this day, like one of the hottest battles that were not in a cypher, that it was just these two crews that were just like at the top in their primes or coming into their primes at the time, finally kind of like meeting head to head. What was that? How was that battle for you? Like did you know about Battle Monkeys at that time? Like did you and were you preparing for a battle that was as hectic as that?
Battle of the Monkeys. Yes, well, that was our first freestyle session as a crew. I think that was Freestyle Session in 2000, and that was our actual first time doing something together as a unit. And so when we battled Battle Monkeys, I've heard of them, but when we actually battled them, every single round in Freestyle Session is just insane. Like, especially we were kids, we were in high school at that time. So every second you had to make the best of it. But it was adrenaline. It was trying to focus when everything was going here, but yet you had to be in the moment. And we were just kids trying to rep. So Battle Monkeys was great, and then we went all the way to the finals. And I remember battling Cali, Texas, and we lost, but we felt like we won the Super Bowl because we represented as a crew, and that was our first time going out as a squad and doing something big.
And getting to the finals.
Yeah. And talking about finals, I would say that Massive Monkeys, it was funny because Justin was asking our Freestyle Session history, right? So I'm like, all right, yeah, I started in 98. And then I was looking on a list, I'm like, damn, we got Massive Monkeys, we have 5 second place freestyle sessions. Real talk, 5 second place freestyle sessions. We have 3 in California, 1 in Korea, 1 in Seattle. And I'm like, man, oh yeah, we made top 16, but we didn't go to the next round, okay? All right, and then I'm like, oh wait, we battled Battle Utensils in 2003, but it wasn't Massive Monkey, so I always forget about that. And then I'm like, I gotta do something. All right, yeah, I judge. All right, yeah, winning. But it's just, talking about the caliber to a freestyle session. The thing that's special as well is bring everybody together. I see Orb, that's our guy. It's like a big brother, Circle of Fire. That's without Circle of Fire, there wouldn't be the Massive Monkey way. They really helped and develop us. Then you see Storm, then you see all these guys. Like, we know each other for years. I known Rainen for years. I know Wendy since high school. Reveal, crossing paths. We battled in Korea. That was a dream, right? And Bee, 98, right? And then Nico, first time today, meeting him. It was great. I see him viral all the time. I'm like, damn, this guy's doing it. And he's running business. I'm like, what? Insane. Incredible, right? But then I see Coney Rock. Like, last time I seen it was in Chicago. great stories. And it's just that connection. You see people and you're like, wow, I know them for years from Freestyle Session, right? So it's special.
Yeah, it's wild seeing you guys connect and just even just like watching you guys like catch up and all that stuff. Like it's really inspiring how this jam, this dance, kind of has, it keeps us tied together. Like no matter how long it's been that we've seen each other, no matter how far away we are, it's kind of just like yesterday when that we've been talking and knowing about each other. Wendy, you have a pretty hectic experience like battling in ciphers and stuff like that at Freestyle Session. I know that. I'll have you talk about it. But you did tell me that about how you had a cipher battle with somebody. Someone was talking mess about somebody else. What was it like? I guess like going to a massive like that, and then having to perform in front of, it's a cipher, so it's not like everyone's watching, but like it's the real. You're in the real deal. You know what I mean? Like what is it like being in that position, maintaining your composure during all that adrenaline?
I think I know what story you're talking about. So this battle stemmed from the Freestyle Session discussion boards. Yes, the infamous discussion boards.
The internet, man.
And this is, where there was like a lot of trolls on there, but there was also a lot of dope b-boys like interacting, and it stemmed from at the time I was in Rocksteady crew, and we went to Philly to do a battle, and because two of the judges didn't like Rocksteady crew, we lost to a crew that kind of just started breaking. And it was for like $5,000, and we all like traveled down there, so we were all pretty salty. But out of that, it became a discussion thread on freestylesession.com, and we were just explaining that certain times it's really just not fair, but whatever. And there was a certain b-boy that I never heard of. I don't remember his name, and he was just talking shit to me. I don't know why, but he just came for me, and I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna argue with you on the internet, but I'll see you at Freestyle Session. And that was it. And so we get to Freestyle Session, and I don't know who this person is. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know anything. And me and Fever from Seattle, we were walking around, and then we figured out who he was, and I guess he was vending. So it was like out on the blacktop, and I was like, "Are you so-and-so?" And he was like, And then I was like, "You were the one that was saying whatever?" And he was like, And so I was like, "Let's go." And so he told me to hold on because he needed to put his knee pads and his elbow pads on. And I was just like, oh my God. So I just did what any B-girl would do. I battled him on the concrete, and after 3 rounds, I was like, this is done. This was done before it started, but this is really done now. And so it just goes to show, like, not only was Freestyle Session an event, it was a whole movement online too, that a lot of battles were settled from these discussion boards, which is crazy. But it also kind of showed people like who was really about it and who wasn't.
Yeah. In my research, what's been crazy, just kind of going through all the years of Freestyle Session, I learned that there are very many Freestyle Sessions, from Freestyle Session Japan, Korea, all that stuff. What's been crazy is that more than half of all Freestyle Sessions, there has been a Filipino in the either first place or second place. So that's a lot. Why do you think that is? Have you ever? Did you guys ever make that connection? Like, has that ever occurred to you? Because I mean, like, for me, it's very obvious because I'm watching you guys and I'm just like, yup, they're back in the finals, and you know that's my kuya and shit. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, Nico, like how does it, you know, how does it feel knowing that like your kababayan is like, you know, out there representing?
I feel like it makes sense. You go to most Filipino parties and they find out you sing, they find out you dance, they find out you play an instrument, you're on the spot. All the titos and titas are going to give you $20, hopefully. But it makes sense. We're already put under the conditions and environment to perform. So even if not perform, then make sure you got your job right. Make sure you're a nurse. Make sure you're a dentist. So the pressure's already on. So it's kind of expected. But at the same time, you can't be too boastful about it. You know, you have to have that tenacity, and you have to have that humility at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think there's some grace and there's some aggression that goes with it. And I think that's a pretty solid formula that we keep seeing this trend happen in.
Yeah, grace and aggression. I like that. That's really. What's up? We got a question. We're starting Q&A now because Storm wants to start Q&A. So whatever, you know.
Whatever Storm wants Q&A, he gets Q&A.
Storm gets Q&A, yes.
You know, by raising that question, it actually means that in the future, every crew that participates at Freestyle Session, they want to have a Filipino.
Yo, I'm gonna start training.
That's dope.
That's dope. So breaking as artists, it's a journey, and sometimes that journey kind of takes you in different places. I want to give just a moment to shout out Bee for designing this poster. It's really dope, and I remember telling him like, yo, like, I kind of want to make it look like a Freestyle Session poster. You know what I mean? And I know Carl Angelo hit me up after he saw it, and he was like, yo, is that me? You know, Wendy let me know, and she was like, yo, like I just saw the flyer. Yo, that's me. I can see me, you know, DJing, you know what I mean? And it's like representation matters. It really feels like, you know, it helps to feel like we belong somewhere. B, you've been drawing and, you know, graphic designing for so long. Tell me what that transition was like, or is there even a transition? Is this, you know, like do you how does breaking still manifest in now your, you know, in your livelihood?
Well, here's a funny story. The way I got into graphic design was kind of by accident. We're mentioning Sunk Rock a lot. Sunk was going to the school, Brooks College in Long Beach, and at night times, sometimes he'd have practices there. So he called me up, and we drove down there from Pasadena, and we're practicing. And then he told me, like, about what the school was. I didn't know anything about it. He said, but his main selling point to me was, yo, the girls outnumber the guys 5-1 over here, so you gotta come over here. So like within like a month, I signed up and I was going to school there, and then I found out that I was actually good at graphic design. So my breaking actually like led me to my career, and yeah.
And you started Fat Pounds.
And then I started Fat Pounds. Actually, it was Sunk that started Fat Pounds. I just took it over after a couple of years.
If you all don't know about Fat Pounds, it's a clothing brand, a hip hop clothing brand that Bee ran for a while, and I remember just like having, you know, he was always vending at different jams and stuff like that, and it was just dope seeing how like he braked, but then he was also doing this business.
I was like the B-boy FUBU. B-boys wanted to support their own, you know,
right,
like other B-boys.
Yeah. Other folks starting businesses. I know that Jeromeskee in Seattle, you started a school. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, my wife and I, there's Massive Monkee Studio, and then my wife and I, we also have a dance studio as well too.
Mm-hmm. So how do you how does breaking, how has it, I guess, like influenced how you go about your business?
It's a great question. Well, we have 10 classes. Well, I teach 10 classes a week. That's the regular, my schedule. And then I have residencies as well, too. And then I train. I was just talking to Nico and Rainen how being entrepreneurs and B-boys as well, and also family, we're all, well, not Nico, but Rainen and some people on the panelists are moms and dads. It's just a full-time, non-stop. There's no, I mean, you can't even, if you're tired, you just got to keep on going. And so when it comes to breaking and thinking about entrepreneurship and business, when stuff hits the fan, especially you have that breaking mentality, when stuff hits the fan, you just, and your back is against the wall, you just got to move forward. Like during COVID, move forward. You just got to keep on going. And there's no time to even I mean, there's times to like cope and feel things out, but you can't even waste your energy, right? Of just like, you just got to keep on going. And so it's just allows me to flow and be flexible, but at the same time have that grit of moving forward by all means, making it happen, and analyzing the situation, understanding the situation, knowing the platform, knowing what's going on, and then going.
Yeah. Health and wellness is something that all dancers and all professionals have to be very, very aware of, very conscious of, and making sure they're taking care of themselves. Wendy, can you, like, how, I know that you're DJing now, and then you're also starting, you're also in the kind of like holistic field. Can you tell me about balance and like how you go about kind of doing all these things?
Yeah, of course. I think for me, like, breaking and being a B-girl has really influenced all areas of my life. One of the biggest things I think as an entrepreneur that I've taken from breaking is it's not what you do, it's how you do it, right? Like, how do you freak it? And that has really been what I stand on whenever I have a new project or I'm, doing what I do. I became a mother, so obviously I stopped breaking for a while and got really focused on my family. And after that, I decided to go to school. I got my master's in archaeology. And then after I got my master's, I was like, I'm gonna learn how to DJ. And I enrolled at the Beat Junkies Institute of Sound. I got to learn from DJ Babu, shout out. And then I started, I got certified in sound healing. So I'm a certified sound healing facilitator. But in everything that I do, especially as an entrepreneur, like, there's ups and downs, right? Like when you're listening to a song and you're breaking, there's the break, right? And like, you're kind of just, you go with the flow, you just flow with, like Jeromeskee said, with what's happening around you. And those are really two big things that I've taken with me, is just like to go for it, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Like sometimes I go in head first. That's like, I think the Aries in me, I just kind of just go forward. But in terms of health and wellness as an artist, I was having this conversation the other day because September was crazy busy. I had mad gigs, and then October, there was nothing. And people were like, oh, you're so busy, whatever, this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, but October is really, really like slow, and I'm taking this time to rest. And learning how to block out days for rest and recovery is really important. And I think as Filipinos and as being from the generation that we are in, we don't prioritize or block out time to recover or to rest. And I think that's one thing that I've learned is, how to say no to things and prioritize my own wellness and my own self-care. So that's really big for me.
Yeah, balance is really hard. I mean, for me, being a restaurant owner and also a registered nurse, they're just 12-hour days. I just have the driest hands, just washing my hands all the time, like just like at the hospital, washing my hands a bunch here, and it's really crazy, like how I feel like breaking has brought me there, and it makes me good at what I do. I think about the times that I had been in battles, and you hear the opposite crew talking shit, and then you hear your crew cheering you on, and then you hear the crowd going, but you're in midair spinning, and there are all these things happening at once, but like you have this sense of control. It's because you know what you're doing, and there's kind of like a calm within all this chaos, and it's very much like being in like a code blue when someone stops breathing. You know exactly what to do. You do compressions, and you listen for orders and all that stuff. And I attribute a lot of how I go about things and how I deal with crises with like how breaking kind of brought those things about. Speaking of balance and being busy, Rainen's kind of all over the place. I just saw you on NBA 2K, the video game. If you guys play NBA 2K, you're a Jabberwocky performing at halftime. Like, what the how a Filipino's in a video game, bro? Like, what is that like?
I know, right? It's weird. No, I mean, I don't know, man. It's hard to say just because I just feel like definitely it's a blessing for sure. Because till this day, I still just think of myself as just a b-boy, just an artist, just a dancer. If there's anything that I love most out of all of this, it's the dance. It's the art in itself. But I mean, I do believe that through that struggle of, especially being Filipino American, wanting to do this craft, especially like you said, like your parents, your aunties, they want you have to be an artist, but you also have to make a lot of money. So it gets to the point where you're taught to dance and sing to be an entertainer, but don't do that as your career, is what you're told. And being in a position where I ended up making it a career, that struggle of, having to, I guess, overcome your parents telling you that it's not a good idea and kind of proving it to them that it's okay, that they can let you go and you'll be fine, is already a struggle in itself, because even through that, they still don't understand it until you actually put it to a position where you make it a career. And I think even when it came to competing in breaking events, to putting yourself in a position where you want to do industry work and do choreography and dancing, to hopefully at one point you could open up a dance studio or just make it a business. Really, my drive was to it's not to prove anybody wrong or my parents wrong. It was to show my parents that I'll be okay. That even though the traditional sense of, being a nurse or being a lawyer or being a doctor or owning a business that has to deal with, food or anything like that, that if you don't do that, then you're not going to make it. It was just a way for me to tell my parents, hey, everything's going to be all right. I can still make it as an entertainer and as a dancer, as a b-boy, as a b-girl, whatever it may be, but just showing that I'm comfortable in my life no matter what. And so whether it not doing Jabberwocky stuff and that blowing up to where we're at right now, which is great, but I would still be happy in the position that I was in even before that, just, doing gigs on the side, entering battles, and, having, side jobs, because at the end of the day, that made me happy during that time. So I just think right now I'm glad that I'm able to raise my family with what I'm doing. I'm glad that I'm able to help my family and my parents out with what I'm doing. I'm glad I'm able to give back to not even just the Filipino community, but just my community in general, of where I've lived at and where I've been raised at. And And yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
No, absolutely. It's really, you know, the amount of accomplishments and the amount of people that you are inspiring. All of you guys are inspiring. You know, you guys are affecting so many other people that just kind of like, you know, you each one teach one, and everyone kind of changes their own world, and you guys collectively are affecting so many lives. I guess moving on to the future and the lives that you are affecting. I know that we kind of already talked about it. Nico had mentioned that breaking is going to be in the Olympics, and that's wild. Like, you know, I never thought I would see the day that you know, I would see breaking on ESPN and you know, on TV. I want to talk about kind of like what you think about the growth and what reveal. What do you think like being in the Olympics is going to do for breaking, and how are you going to prepare for that?
I support it 100%. I think it's dope. You know, it's a dream come true for a lot of new b-boys, and yeah, just the competitors too. And I think it's like leading to the right direction, and as long as you have the right people involved, it's all good.
Yeah.
That's all I care. You get the right people to be a part of it and to back it up. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't go, I don't know, astray and get lost somewhere else and get all, you know, get sporty. You know, because it's a dance. You know, I believe this dance came from a culture, from the street. And it's soulful. It's for us. But on a competitive level, it's good because it'll bring more kids to dance. It'll bring more families, you know, and they're gonna realize like this is the real thing. It's the truth. It brings people together. You know, not just jams, just dance. Period.
Right. Yeah. For Jeromeskee, I recently found out that you're WDSF certified. That's World Dance Sport Federation certified. So tell me what that means, and tell me how to mitigate that professionalism, or like kind of like the next level of competition, and still keeping the soul of it.
Yes, so I'm certified to judge Olympic style events. So that means that you go through the tests and you get to do WDSF events that qualify you to the Olympics. And the more you score points, the more you place, you score points, right? And then you have to go through a system, though. You have to go through testing. The trivium, first of all, you go through the threefold, and then you go through the trivium, which is it's a legit test. You have to be ready. Even if you are a seasoned judge, you still have to study, and it can be tough. But yeah, I was just in Manchester to do the European World Championships out there, and it's happening. The Olympics is happening. You could see breaking events merging to Olympic style events, and it's beautiful. It's so long, just like Rufio was saying, it's so long that we have the right people educating the masses correctly how beautiful the art is and the culture of it. And it's gonna be very incredible for breaking, and everyone's gonna want to break again. But yeah, it is a beautiful process, and it's very interesting because there is that level now where they are training like a sport in a sense, where the judges came and talk to the dancers, which is a good and bad thing in a sense, you know. But they're really treated in the high level, which is fascinating, and it needs to get there if it's going to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. Recently, there has been, you know, strong anti-Asian and Asian hate narrative that has been kind of affecting our culture. I wonder what you think about what the Olympics is going to do to kind of just show and unify kind of like all people. Nico, somebody that's kind of seen how these things kind of like affect you and the potential that breaking in the Olympics can, kind of affect like that narrative.
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate place for where those two things can tie together when it comes to the topic of the Stop Asian Hate narrative and the Olympics, and going back to representation, right? Anytime that we saw Rufio, Dante Bosco, or seeing Filipino voices, seeing Rainen on ABDC, seeing all these people on ABDC, and I think the leaders and thought leaders that represent Filipino Americans, when it comes to breaking, I always thought that they were superheroes because everyone comes up with their own style, everyone has their own narrative, everyone has their own story, their backstory, and all the darkness that they were able to climb out of. I think having a high level of representation, whether it's any ethnicity, any race, any group, any cultural representative, I think it's going to help out a lot. So I look forward to that because I think those things will alleviate those kind of topics, those topics that are really sensitive, those topics that are really painful for everyone to watch, for everyone to feel. So
yeah,
I look forward to that.
Absolutely. Bee, what is it like, having breaking in the Olympics and, remembering the days when you were just crammed in a car?
No, it's awesome to see the evolution of this dance. I mean, we saw it like the re-emergence, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And we used to joke, just all the homies talking, we used to joke, oh, what if it became in the Olympics, or what if it became a sport? And there was always those debates, in all these forums and stuff. And it can only help the culture, really, because more people will know that it's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
People right now are still saying, oh, that's a dead dance or whatever. Why are you still doing that? And it shows that like people are doing it at a high level, and they've been doing it, or else it wouldn't be at that high level.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to like really see it.
Yeah. As we wrap up here, I just wanted to ask, is the mission for this conversation is to empower our community to recognize our potential to change the world. You guys started just on the floor, just breaking, and now Jeromeskee got keys to the city in Seattle. They have a Massive Monkee's Day out there, recognized by the city. Rainen's like hometown hero. Like kind of just started from the bottom. You see him on a video game. He's Jabberwockies, things like that. What would you want to say to this current generation, or any creatives at the moment who are just trying to find their way, and also the Philippines is gonna have an Olympics team, and they're gonna hear these stories, and I feel like these narratives that you guys have can really change someone's perspective of their potential, and really push. It'll show that they can just push themselves and make it, and coming from the Philippines and winning gold, it's kind of something that we all kind of want to see, and I just want to kind of go around and ask if there's anything that you have left to say, and if there's anything that any kind of wisdom that you want to pass on. We'll just start from Rainen on.
I just think one of my teachers, of course, Po one, each one teach one. I think to me that's super important, because no matter what, in this culture, you're always going to want to keep on learning, right? No matter what, even when it comes to anything. But I also think just stay open to any style, to when it comes to not just breaking, but popping, locking, any style of dance, any art form. At the end of the day, it's just going to make you a better artist. And nowadays, it's easy to get access to anything, pretty much. Because like I said, even within our generation, everything was through a VHS tape, or you had to be there live to see it in person. But the access to learn a move, the access to learn a style, the access to being able to, even run your own small business that has to deal with this culture. I've seen a lot of people that have been able to start clothing lines, that have to deal with breaking or have to deal with just hip hop in general, to building a small business or a company, of dancers or b-boys. I mean, you see the level that dancing has taken itself to, where you have us who were just garage kids, just really breaking with the people that were in our city, literally, because we couldn't travel. Whether we're from Pasadena, Seattle, Portland, or San Diego, or Riverside, you were really just in that small circle. Where now you have crews where, say for instance, like Rebel BC1 All-Stars, none of them live in the same city. None of them live in the same country. But because of the internet, because of what we have access to, they can now see each other all the time and train with each other and be around each other, and when they see each other, it just feels like they've been connecting with each other. Just any crew in general now. So many crews have people from different countries that are in their crews. And it's not like they don't see each other. They have online practices. We all remember the pandemic. There was online battles happening all the time during. I entered a few of those, and they were kind of fun because, you have, someone next to you telling you, no, keep going, bro. Keep going. Finish off with a freeze. And you could hear them because in the events you can't hear them. Online battles were funny like that.
Yo, how does the music work in online battles? Like you have your own music, or you're?
No, there's some music playing and you don't hear it. You just go.
My musicality will be on.
My musicality, yeah, it's gonna be good. You're gonna hear it one way or another. It's gonna hit a beat at one point. I don't know when, but it's gonna hit a beat here. But you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like in general, during this pandemic, we've learned that we could do so much. Of course, physically being with each other helps, especially where we're at now. So I think the excitement for me to see them physically and people that I haven't seen in a while, it has been great. So, I guess that's what I would just say to the next generation, those three things. Because I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Paris. I can't wait to see what happens in 2028, the next 10 years. It's going to be amazing. I already know.
Yeah, absolutely. Rufio, as someone that I think that I've seen change the game, what do you have to say, for the next generations making these new moves and inspiring even coming back to you,
Well, for me, I just hope I give good advice. I just gotta say, just enjoy what you do. At the end of the day, it's all on you because you have one shot in this life, and don't live with regrets. And I learned that because I'm so fortunate just to travel the world just from this, and all my friends are from breaking. I made a lot of close friends, family through this. And so I guess just enjoy what you love doing. And I know that sounds cliche, but it really is. We have one life, and I think without love, that's the only experience you're gonna have in life, So you gotta. Life is all about experience. You ain't gonna take it with you after,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
do what you love, and that's it,
it'll take you,
and the universe will come to you, and it's just gonna happen. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wendy, any thoughts about the next generation and sharing your experiences and putting with different disciplines?
Yeah, I agree. I would say, do it from your heart. If you don't feel like it's coming from your heart, then you need to take a step back and assess where you're coming from. Sometimes that happens. Your relationship with dance, it has its ups and downs, but don't be discouraged. Another one is I was having this conversation with Paru, actually. Shout out to Paru, Pinay B girls. We were in the car driving, and we were talking about battling, and I was telling her that everything that you've been through in your life, every experience you've had, every interaction, every win, every loss, like that has contributed to who Paru is, you know. And as a B girl, tap into that, because nobody else could be you or have the experiences that you've had. So I know, like, there's a lot of discussion about, like, people, you know, biting each other, like emulating other styles that aren't really their style, but like really tap into that uniqueness within you, because it's there, you know. We all have it, and that's what makes us who we are as people and as dancers. And this goes out to, you know, the women in the space. Like, don't be afraid to take space, you know. We belong here just as much as everybody else. And, you know, it's so amazing to see so many B girls, but it's crazy how many conversations I've had behind the scenes where a lot of women still don't 100% truly believe that they belong in the space, you know? And so my thing is, don't be afraid to take space, you know? Be there, show up, and take as much space as you need. So those are my advices.
Yeah. That's dope. And
thank you.
B, for the next generation, and you know, and our kababayan in the Philippines, anything to say about, you know, about their journey?
Yeah, find out who you are. You know, it is a journey. You know, like from the beginning to the end. Like when I started, like I wanted to look like this guy. I wanted this kind of feel or whatever's, but it didn't fit right. You know. But along that way, you figure out what feels good, and you make it your own. And like, you don't have to be a battler. There's a lot of like B-boys are just getting like, they just go in for the competition, and if that's what you love, then that's awesome. But you know, for me, I'm not much of a battler. I was always a cipher guy. I just wanted to have fun, and battling wasn't always fun if there was no like, there was nothing behind it other than money.
Sure.
You know, I'm gonna go in for the pride, or for like, you know, or you know, you disrespected me, so I'm gonna go at you. But if you're just doing it like for like in a contest, it's not for everybody. You know. But enjoy yourself. Don't forget the ciphers.
Yeah.
You know, people hold back for the battles, but it's not fun.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just be you, have fun.
Nico, what's it like, you know, being the being the younger generation and listening to the older generations talk about this, and I feel like you're somebody that, you know, that could compete to be in the Olympics and things like that. Like, what are your takeaways?
Some of my takeaways kind of relate to a lot of the things that I've learned in entrepreneurship, my experience as a college dropout, my experience as an artist, my experience as someone that's been in multiple crews. And some of those things that I've learned is trusting your intuition is really important. Trusting your gut, because you're going to get a lot of feedback, whether it's swinging harder on an air flare, or it's swinging lower for an air flare, or the abundance of resources that we have to different bits of tips and bits of advice. But I think the thing that matters at the end of the day is what your intuition tells you. Everyone's body type is different. Everyone's form of learning is different. Not everyone wants to get into entrepreneurship. Maybe you do a lot better as employee number 1, 2, and 3, and you can make $80K a year doing something that you're interested in someone else's company, or you can make $32K a year building your own business and building your own empire. But I think honing back on the focus of the question is, yeah, there's a lot of resources, but listening to your gut, but also having the humility and having the consistency to keep going, especially when you keep failing forward, because it's bound to happen in this long-term lifestyle of breaking, or this long-term lifestyle of entrepreneurship. As an academic, you're going to keep failing forward, but I definitely think maintaining that consistency and humility to keep going is what's going to help out long-term. a quote that I hold really close and dear to me was from one of my high school teachers, and it was, "You get what you give." And regardless of any of those vessels or platforms or mediums that people use in their life, whether entrepreneur or you're a business owner or you're an employee or you're a breaker or you're a house dancer, whatever the case is, everything that you say, like being impeccable with your word, anything that you say that's going to have positive or negative impacts on you, right? The more that you just assume, the less certain your life is going to be, right? Just go ask the person what's going on. The more you gossip, the more toxicity you're going to bring into your life, right? The more that you give into each of these different types of energy, that's what you're going to get back. If you know those 3 to 4 points I was outlining, it's from the book called The Four Agreements. But that's a book that I revisit multiple times a year. But I guess outlining everything that I said from the quote of "you get what you give," imagine that good energy that you put into developing your unique, your own individual style. That's what's going to come about it. The more energy that you put into diversifying your investments in business, in music, in the things you're interested in playing it safe for an upcoming recession or whatever the case is, then you're going to get diversified investments and you're going to get diversified return of investment. But yeah, you get what you give.
Absolutely, yeah. And Jeromeskee taking this dance at like so many different levels, from from being on the battlegrounds to starting your own business, and then now taking it to like this international kind of a place that we've never really been. Share your thoughts about that, and I guess what you have to say for B-Boys trying to figure out, get their footing of what to do next, or how to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that that's coming to me right now is it's like always constantly working on yourself and improving. No matter if you're gonna have your highs, you're gonna have your lows, but consistently always seeking out for knowledge of improving and showing up to be your best version of yourself when you're practicing, when you're dead tired, or when you're just feeling stressed out, or it's not your day, but you still show up for that battle, you still show up for that practice, or still show up for that job, right? To be consistent at that and always moving forward. And when it comes to breaking, add to the dance, be your own creative self. Add to this dance and be creative and be the best version of yourself. And then importantly, give back. Give back small, give back big, give back, go to a community center 30 minutes, or put a program together and that can last for a whole year, or start a breaking league, or just help and give back. It's just that something about showing up, being the best version of yourself, and giving back is that feel-good cycle.
Absolutely.
That I've seen many of everyone here has been doing, all the people that we've looked up to as well. There's always something about giving back. So that's huge.
You guys, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time, being part of this panel. It's mad cold. We've been sitting here for a little bit, empty seats. But yeah, is there anything else that anyone wants to say? Any questions anyone has? Just want to open it up to the floor.
Just a little topic. I noticed that I'm Mexican, so when I go to Mexico and I interact with the B-Boys there, it's like the experience that I have are very welcoming. I know a couple of you guys frequent the Philippines, you the most, and you've actually advocated for B-Boys to go out to the Philippines. Like I know Jimmy went on your so like when you guys go out there to the Philippines, what's the interaction with the locals like? Do you ever get any animosity of like, oh, that should be me, like he's Filipino, but like how come I don't get a shot? Or is it more like or it's like, oh, this guy is Filipino, and like I want him to notice that like, hey, we've been working out here as well.
That's a good question.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry I cut you off.
No. Real quick, I go to Philippines back and forth too, like even not lately, but before, because that's where I'm from. I was born there, and we go visit relatives. But I never really went there for jams or anything. But I went there for a jam one time this guy from Hawaii was throwing a jam there, and he organizes like a workshop for like a week, and that was like the first time I ever seen like real b-boys in Philippines, all over Manila, and honestly, I don't really know. Like, I didn't think twice about like what they think about me. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what they were thinking, and they're really shy, I guess, at first. I mean, yeah, they're really shy. I think that's the first thing I felt, because that's how I was too when I was young and I moved to the States. I was really shy around people. So, but with the animosity and the aggression, I don't really see that out there. But the skill level, yeah, they get down. You know, they throw down anywhere. It doesn't matter, concrete, floor, whatever. But like, yeah, they showed love though. They're a little shy and timid, but they got that warrior in them. You know, they got something to show too. So yeah, but that was my first experience, and yeah, they're dope. They're coming up.
B, you want to take that on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found out that the natural, the nature of the Filipino people in the Philippines, they're very welcoming and warm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I went to an event out there. Me and my wife, we entered, and we got like, she got to the finals, and I got to like the top 8. But it was so dope. They're so supportive.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who's up there, you feel like you're like at a WWE event, you know, because like everyone's like cheering really loud, no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful feeling, and it's like it's like very friendly, very friendly. Everyone's so friendly and welcoming, and they just automatically adopt you into their family, you know. So it's awesome.
If that's it, go ahead. Yep.
How do you practice going into a pony up from the airplane?
Nico.
Yeah, that's Nico.
Practice.
Prerequisites, which one?
Practice.
Word up. All right,
Respectfully,
y'all.
but practice.
If that's it, I would, thank you again for you guys' time, and I really appreciate
Thank you
y'all
guys
coming
so
out. So
much.
thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you guys for sticking out. I don't know if we're still serving food, but thank you for coming, and we'll see y'all next year.
Salamat.
Let's go eat.